Hello everyone, welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thank you for joining us. Although I get an opportunity to talk to many of you all week about various topics related to our Second Amendment rights, this particular topic comes up more than any one other topic. So let's talk today about how to conceal carry in Washington State. Okay, before we get rolling, you guys know the drill. If you like this video, go ahead and click the like button down below. Click the little bell logo if you want to be notified when we post new videos. Click the subscribe button if you want to stay up to date on information related to your Second Amendment rights, not only on a state level, but a nationwide level. And most importantly, let's keep the comments and discussions coming so we can make sure that we get this video out to more lawful and responsible gun owners like yourself. Okay, so the topic that we're going to be discussing today is how to conceal carry lawfully and responsibly in Washington State. And the two statutes that we're going to spend time talking about today, we're going to spend a few moments talking about RCW 9.41.050, and then we're going to spend a majority of our time today talking about RCW 9.41.070. Now, as a disclaimer, before we get too far down the road, what we're going to be talking about today is why to have a concealed pistol license in Washington State, and more importantly, how to get a concealed pistol license in Washington State. I'm not going to be talking about reciprocity in other states. If I get a CPL in Washington, where else can I carry? If I'm not from Washington, but I got a CPL from state X, can I carry in Washington State? We have a video on that already. I'll put the link for that down below. Okay, to begin with, let's talk about why we would want to have a concealed pistol license. Under Washington law, specifically RCW 9.41.050, we cannot carry a handgun concealed on our person, and we cannot carry a handgun loaded in our automobile unless we have a valid and recognized concealed pistol license. In fact, the statute specifically reads, except in the person's place of abode or fixed place of business, a person shall not carry a pistol concealed on his or her person without a license to carry a concealed pistol. The statute further goes on to state, every licensee shall have his or her concealed pistol license in his or her immediate possession at all times that he or she is required by this section to have a concealed pistol license, and shall display the same upon demand to any police officer or to any other person when and if required by law to do so. Any violation of this subsection 1B shall be a Class 1 civil infraction under 7.80 of the RCW and should be punished accordingly. And just so you're aware, if you're caught carrying a concealed weapon and you don't have a valid concealed pistol license on you, that is, you possess a valid concealed pistol license, you just don't have it with you at that particular time, looking at a Class 1 civil infraction under Washington law that is punishable by up to a $1,000 fine. Now, RCW 9.41.050 further goes on to state, and this is important, subsection 2, a person shall not carry or place a loaded pistol in any vehicle unless the person has a license to carry a concealed pistol license and 1, the pistol is on the licensee's person, 2, the licensee is within the vehicle at all times that the pistol is there, or 3, the licensee is away from the vehicle and the pistol is locked within the vehicle and concealed from view from outside the vehicle. And the statute tells us that a violation of this section is a misdemeanor, which is punishable by up to 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. So, why do we need a concealed pistol license? Well, we need a concealed pistol license in Washington State for two main reasons. Number 1, to carry a firearm concealed on your person. And number 2, for the ability to carry that firearm loaded in your automobile. Absent having a valid Washington State concealed pistol license or an out-of-state license recognized by one of the 9 states that we currently recognize, you cannot carry concealed on your person, you cannot carry loaded in your automobile. So, how do we go about getting a concealed pistol license in Washington State? Well, the statute that we're going to be spending most of our time with today is RCW 9.41.070. And in typical fashion, as you can see here, the Washington State Legislature has drafted an incredibly long and convoluted statute. In fact, here's another section of the statute just to give you an idea. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to try to take this very long, convoluted piece of legislation and break it down into small, digestible pieces for all of us to understand. Okay, starting right at the very top of the statute, where do you go to get your concealed pistol license? Well, if you live inside city limits, any city limit inside the state of Washington, you would go to that municipal police department. If you live in an unincorporated part of a particular county in Washington state, that is, you do not live inside city limits, then you would go to that county sheriff's department. And if you live out of state, that is, you reside out of state, but you want a concealed carry license here in Washington state, or you have just moved to this state, but you have not established a permanent residence for at least 90 days, you can apply for your concealed pistol license at any county sheriff's office anywhere in the state of Washington. So, how long does law enforcement have to issue your concealed pistol license? Well, the statute very specifically states that the concealed pistol license shall be issued to a person within 30 days of the application if they are an in-state resident, and shall be issued to an out-of-state resident within 60 days of the date of application. Once granted, how long will you have that concealed pistol license? Well, that license will be good for 5 years and can be renewed within the last 90 days of that 5-year period. Now, unlike some states, such as New York, which is the subject of a huge Supreme Court opinion that we talked about, and I'll put the link below, or California, or some of the other more anti-Second Amendment states, Washington State, fortunately, at this time, is still a shall issue state. That means that unless law enforcement can disprove your eligibility to possess a firearm, they shall issue you that concealed pistol license. So, how can your CPL application be rejected? Well, the statute specifically spells out the instances in which law enforcement can reject a concealed pistol license application. They include the following. In subsections 1A through G, the statute says that the applicant's constitutional right to bear arms shall not be denied unless A, they are ineligible to possess a firearm under the provisions of RCW 9.41.040 or prohibited from possessing a firearm under federal law. B, the applicant's concealed pistol license status is in revoked status. C, they're under the age of 21. D, they're subject to a court order or an injunction that prohibits them from possessing firearms. E, they are free on bond or personal recognizance pending trial or appeal for a matter involving a felony. F, they're on an outstanding warrant in any competent jurisdiction for a felony or misdemeanor. G, they've been ordered to forfeit a firearm under RCW 9.41.0981E within 1 year before the filing of the application. And that last one is really important because 941.0981.8 is individuals who are found in possession of a firearm while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And you see this frequently where people are arrested for a DUI and happen to have a firearm in the car. Law enforcement can order forfeiture of that firearm. And if that has occurred within 1 year of the application date or 1 year within a reapplication for renewal, your CPL application is going to be rejected. Now, once the application is submitted, and again, just to go back over, if you live inside a city somewhere in the state of Washington, you're going to that municipal police department. If you do not live inside city limits, you're going to your county sheriff. Once the application is submitted, it is law enforcement's duty. They are mandated by this statute to run 2 separate background checks. One is through the Washington State Patrol's watch system. The second one is through the FBI ATF's NICS system. Once both of those background checks have been completed, if the individual still comes back as being lawfully allowed to possess a firearm, at that point, law enforcement shall issue you the concealed pistol license. Now, if, God forbid, you have previously been convicted of a felony or a domestic violence or any offense which previously disqualified your Second Amendment rights, you cannot apply for a concealed pistol license until your rights have been fully restored, not only under RCW 9.41.040, but under all applicable federal law as well. Now, most CPL applications, regardless of your location in the state, are going to be quite similar because subsection 4 of the statute mandates that applications contain the following. The license application shall bear the full name, residential address, telephone number at the option of the applicant, email address at the option of the applicant, date and place of birth, race, gender, description, a complete set of fingerprints, and a signature of the licensee, and the licensee's driver's license number or state identification card number if used for identification in applying for the license. And more importantly, and this is something to be aware of, and we got a separate video on this, take a look at what the last section of subsection 4 of the statute reads. A signed application for a concealed pistol license shall constitute a waiver of confidentiality and written request that the healthcare authority, mental health institutions, and other healthcare facilities release information relevant to the applicant's eligibility for a concealed pistol license to an inquiring court or law enforcement agency. So yes, when you apply for a concealed pistol license, just like when you go to do a background check on a handgun or a semi-automatic rifle in Washington State, you are in fact waiving medical confidentiality so that law enforcement agencies could dig into your medical records, including mental health records if they exist. So how much does a concealed pistol license application cost? Well, subsection 5 of the statute tells us that directly, and I want you all to pay careful attention to this. The non-refundable fee paid upon application for the original 5-year license shall be $36 plus additional charges imposed by the Federal Bureau of Investigation that are passed on to the applicant. No other state or local branch or unit of government may impose any additional charges on the applicant for the issuance of the license. So whatever your jurisdiction is charging, if you get an itemized bill, according to this statute, you should be charged $36 plus any additional federal fees that the FBI imposes. Beyond that, no state or local government can add any additional fees to the CPL application process. And if you want to see where all of that money goes, actually the statute subsection 5A through E actually spells out where each penny of that $36 goes. Now, let's talk about renewals. How do we renew our concealed pistol license? Well, first of all, a renewal will be accepted. An application for a renewal will be accepted within 90 days of the expiration of your current CPL. So if you have a concealed pistol license right now, take it out, take a look at it, take a look at what your expiration date is. If you're within 90 days of that expiration date, you are now eligible to apply for a renewal. How much does a renewal cost? Well, subsection 6 of the statute tells us that the fee for a CPL renewal application is $32. And once again, the statute specifically states that state and local governments, municipal, county governments, anything such as that, are not allowed to add on any additional fees to the renewal application. And finally, what happens if you lose your concealed pistol license? Well, you go back to the police agency that originally issued it. You pay the $10 fee as set forth by statute, and they will issue a new copy of that concealed pistol license. So, in summary, why do we need a concealed pistol license? We need a concealed pistol license because it allows us to carry concealed on our person. It allows us to carry loaded in our automobile. How do we go about getting a concealed pistol license? Well, we fill out a very standardized application, we pay a very standardized fee, and we go to the municipal police department where we live. If we live inside city limits, if we do not live inside city limits, we go to the county sheriff in the county in which we reside. Once granted, our concealed pistol license is good for 5 years, and we can renew that license within the last 90 days of that. We are a shall issue state, which means unless law enforcement can disprove your eligibility to possess a firearm, they shall issue you the license within 30 days of the application if you're an in-state resident and 60 days if you are an out-of-state resident. Listen, you may have more questions about concealed pistol licenses or anything related to your Second Amendment rights, and if you do, don't ever hesitate to contact us at WashingtonGunLaw.com, or of course you can call us directly at 425-765-0487. Listen, part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here at Washington Gun Law, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching, and stay safe.